We're going to start out with a couple of guidelines. I'm going to give you throughout this some principles that my family uses, or at least has tried to use. So that's the first screen. We have a policy in our house. We use Apple devices in our house. That's just what we've chosen to use in our houses versus Android devices. There are 3 devices that people use for social media other than a computer. It would be an Apple device, an iPod, or an iPhone, or an Android device, or a Kindle device. A Kindle uses an Android operating system, if you did not know that. So when I refer to an Android device, I'm simply referring to that type of smartphone, Kindle Fire, lots of tablets that you can buy for $40. All the same, they're all the same operating system. Okay, so my family has chosen to use Apple devices for 2 reasons. One, everyone shares my Apple ID, so I know what is being downloaded. It is part of our security protection system in our family. That is, and since we're on Apple devices, they just all communicate better. So next week when we talk about smartphones and tablets and security settings and parental controls, I will talk about Apple stuff. Colby Durham, who used to be a store manager for Verizon, will be here to talk about Android stuff because I don't use them. I can't educate you on them. I just have no clue. So that will be next week. But we have this policy. Parental use is child use. So if Jonathan says, "Dad, I want to download this app, I want to get linked in with this social media account," if I am not willing to use it myself, or if I'm not willing to at least inform myself of what it's about, he can't have it. That's just the way it is. Because you can get in trouble real easy with social media. And it's not a bad thing, like other things are blatantly bad things. Social media is not a bad thing. We can abuse it, and bad people can find us. So that's one. There are a couple of resources that I would like for you to know about, at least. One is ikeepsafe.org. It is actually, I don't think this stuff is written in your handouts anywhere. So ikeepsafe.org, it is a service that you can subscribe to that tracks your child or grandchild's history on social media, and you can find out exactly where they have been and where they're going and what sites they are using, and you install it on their phone or their tablet, and you can find out exactly what their activity is. It is, I'm sorry guys, I just sold you out. That's okay, because I love you. The other one is this, youknowkids.com. A lot of the resources that I am using today and next week they are from youknowkids.com. It is simply a site to educate parents on social media use and what are the trends and what are apps that your kids are using that you have no clue that they're using, and what is the latest and greatest that teenagers are using. So I get a newsletter from them every Friday morning that tells me what is the latest in social media trends. And you can subscribe to their service and they take care of you and some different things. They have a lot of free things on their website as well. Some of your handouts are from their free stuff on their website. The other one is LifeLock Junior. We use this for 2 of our kids, simply because our 9-year-old has no discretion on the internet at all. And I've actually had to call a couple different places because he put my email address in something, and PayPal sent him in his name a debit card And this was just 3 months ago. And so, generally when people mess with my child's identity, I come unglued pretty quickly. And so I have two very, very pleasant conversations with someone that got it taken care of. But, so we signed him up for LifeLock Junior, and what this is, Bridget and I use it. It's identity security. If anyone taps our social security number, we know it. I get a text message that fast. So they have it. It is $50 a year for LifeLock Junior. So we have it for Jonathan because he's on the internet all the time and social media and this and that. And we would rather know if his identity's in jeopardy at 15 than when we're starting to apply for college at 19. It's just, we think it's smart. And so then we added it for Jordan because he's stupid on the internet. He's 9, and it happens. Yes, sir.
Are there charges for iKeepSafe.org and YouKnowKids.com, or do those charge? Are there charges for that?
There are charges for the iKeepSafe.org is like $40 a year for this tracking service. I don't use it. I only discovered it doing research for it today. So I don't know how well it does. But I thought someone you might want to experiment with it, and that would be okay. The YouKnowKids.com, I don't remember. I know there was a subscription, I just don't remember what the charges were. But there's lots of free stuff. Free is always good. So let's talk about Facebook. And this is on your... So I need to go to that page because there are some things that I just gave you that I thought was useful for you to have. So I may not refer to everything on the sheet. Like you have a handout in here that says your guide to social networking, and there's some good stuff on here. Well, let's talk about Facebook. There are some stats because I'm a stats guy and I like stats. So Facebook, there are a number of different things that you need to know on Facebook. I gave you the top 10 list of things that every parent needs to know about Facebook, and there are 9. And you have the resource, the source down at the bottom of the page. But I want to give you some things because I learned some things about Facebook. One is this I did not learn, this I knew, and I've actually had lots of conversations with Facebook about this over the last 4 years. And on one occasion, Facebook has told me, any person that you know that is under the age of 13 that is using Facebook, call us, we'll delete their account, no questions asked. I just chose not to have that conversation with parents. Because I could get a lot of kids deleted off Facebook with no questions asked. I would rather parents teach their kids honesty and truth and integrity. So, 13 years old is the minimum age required for Facebook use. This is not Facebook's thing. They would actually like to take it down to 9 or 10 since most 10-year-olds are using Facebook anyway. This is federally mandated because the federal government, whether we think they get things right or wrong, they care about the safety of kids. And so they've mandated that, however they've determined, 13 is the magic number, that they've determined that we can't keep kids safe under the age of 13 if they're on Facebook. But even that, in 2012, 2 years ago, 38% of 12-year-olds had an active Facebook account. So 64% of parents did not know that the account existed. If your kids are on one of these, or one of these, and you don't know what they're downloading, you have no clue what they're doing on the internet. Okay, so the big thing for me with that number is that 38% of 12-year-olds in America think it's okay to lie with little things, which was not okay with me. And the 36% of parents that knew their 12-year-old had a Facebook account were okay with their kids lying about little things in life, which was also not okay with me. And that's always a hard conversation. But wherever people get this data from, there's some truth to it. I think that it's probably actually higher than what we actually think. Okay, so here's some more Facebook stuff. Why does giving the correct age matter? And if you are a parent, grandparent of a child you think may have lied about their age to use Facebook. 2009, I was sitting in Chicago at a conference, and I got a friend request from Jonathan Peoples on Facebook. Okay, in 2009, Jonathan was 10. And I called, and I said, this is not okay. I'm in Chicago, but we're having a conversation when I get home. And I did it 3 other times until I think he finally got it. It was a battle. We fought over this. Our relationship was strained over this and other things that were going on in our family at the time. But it was a big deal. So if you want to know what your child's birthday, what age they say, or grandchild, go to your Facebook account. Again, if your child is on Facebook, you should have a Facebook account. No questions asked. It's probably not negotiable in my mind. You can think that's wrong, and that's okay. We'll disagree. So to find out what age Facebook thinks your child is, they had to put a birth date. They had to put a year of birth when they signed up for their Facebook account. Go to your birthday list and check out what age he or she is next, and you will know. Go through your birthday list, and it'll tell you how old your child is, according to Facebook. Teenagers, I don't understand. They don't get this. Some think that the information they put online is completely secret. It's not. I can go find out any birthday of any person that is on my birthday list because Facebook will give it to me. Okay? This is new information. I've learned this. There's one Facebook for adults and one Facebook for those under 17 years old. I did not know this, and Facebook doesn't give this information unless you go digging for it. So the reason why the date of birth is important is this. Facebook needs to know where to put you. So if you're 12 and you say that you are 19, Facebook puts you in the Facebook for adults, and you have anybody can find you. Anybody can follow your status without being a friend. Anybody can like your stuff. Anyone can share your stuff. It is actually very, very dangerous for a 12-year-old to lie about their age on Facebook versus 13 through 17. If I have 20 Facebook friends, it's set up that way on purpose. It's family and a couple people that I do some accountability stuff with, and Delora, because I have to be an admin for the church Facebook page. So I have like 20 Facebook friends, and I can go, there's a guy that I know that I can follow his status even though I am not his Facebook friend, and I can see everything that he posts. Phelan, over there, she'll get mad that I just embarrassed her. If she has a Facebook, we are not friends. I don't know if she does or not. But if she put her real age, I could not follow her because the 13 to 17-year-old Facebook does not allow anybody to follow public information that you post as a teenager. There are very, very high safety security settings for Facebook for teenagers. So it's super important that you have that conversation with your child, your grandchild, to make sure they are the proper age. And date of birth is very important. So let's talk about that. How do we keep our child's identity secure? Child, grandchild, all the same thing. There are a couple things. I am a big identity security guy. I will put almost anything on the internet. I'm stupid like that. I understand, which is why I pay for a service to make sure that my identity is not misconstrued. So there are a couple things that we need to be aware of with child's, even our identity really is important. So date of birth for kids. Parents tell me, well, I don't want my kid's date of birth, full date of birth online because someone's going to take it. Not doing that is opening up a whole other can of worms on Facebook. We just talked about that. Here are some other things that I read about this week. When the avatar, I'll show you what the avatar, that's your little profile picture that you or your child put on your Facebook account. Studies show that your personal picture should never be your profile picture. Especially if you're a teenager, because now I have your name, now I have your face. And we'll walk through some security settings on Facebook in a second. And we're really good at putting, we're in Florida over spring break at the beach. We are in New York City. I'm in Atlanta this week. My family is on vacation at the beach. It's the middle of July. We're really good about putting our lives on Facebook. So the picture here is, I have your name. I know what you look like. I know you're not in town. I can now Google, if I tie your Facebook and your Instagram together, I can now find out where you live and I know you're not home. Which tends to, adults don't even think about this. So all of that information, and how many moms in here are on Facebook? How many of you have your maiden name attached to your Facebook account? Okay, Melissa. Bridget does too, and Bridget and I have had this conversation. It didn't go well for my argument lost. Okay, so let's just take the information here. Date of birth, plus name, plus picture, plus location, plus mom's maiden name. Well, what does that generally equal? Passwords, and now I know all the information that I need to apply for a credit card in your child's name. That's it. It's that easy. I can make up income. So another thing with identity here, I could go on that for a long time, but I'm going to stop. So we think when we delete something from Facebook, I just deleted a bunch of photos from my page they were just announcement type stuff. We think that when we delete stuff, they're gone. It's gone. We think because we no longer see it in our account. It sits on a server somewhere, guys. With the amount of servers that are being hacked, it's a reality. Somebody could get our stuff if we're not careful. So there are lots of things, lots of details that need to be considered with safety and identity. Even I'm 40, I have to be careful with my identity. I don't have much for people to steal, but somebody could very easily because I just throw everything out there. So let's talk privacy settings. I'm going to show you. I did some screenshots from my page, so I'm just going to walk through some of this. If you need an individual conversation on this stuff, please let's have that conversation, because you're not going to see everything, just the size. You won't see it. So this is what my feed looks like, and you'll see in the upper right hand corner, you will see settings. You go down. These are all my options, and you'll have settings. So if you click on settings, you get something that looks like this. And if you go to the next one is security settings, and you can tell it. Now I have some pretty intense security settings, so much so that my wife has a hard time posting to my Facebook wall. It is that secure because I don't use it very often, and someone could come and take it pretty easily if they want, because I just don't use it. So you can approve a login from another device. You can have notifications. You can do lots of really good things with that. The next one is privacy, which is I want to camp on for a minute. Who can see my stuff? The default, and you're going to hear me say this over again a few times, the default is public. Always. Anytime you post, whether it is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, AskFM, all of these things that we're going to talk about, the default is always public. And so, your kids, your grandkids think they're smarter than you. And Facebook recognizes that they think they're smarter than you. And so, in a Facebook post, or like, hey, my day really stunk today. I fought with my mom and dad, which I know never happens. But they can actually choose who sees that post. They can post things on Facebook that they don't want you to see. It's a reality. So you can go in and change these. Who can see your future posts? Public, because I just don't care. I have 25 friends, so if I yell at one of my sisters, I'm probably going to yell at her over the phone. I don't care if I yell at her on Facebook and she sees it. She's probably already heard me say it. So you can go through and see who can see it, These are all settings that you can edit. Okay. So timeline. Here's a big thing that most teenagers don't realize. Again, we had this conversation probably a year ago. Jonathan liked a page that he thought was really cool. That was really cool. But the person that administrated this page put some profanity and some vulgarity on his page. And that shows up on Jonathan's newsfeed. So if you're scrolling through, doing your morning, hey, I'm checking out what's going on Facebook, and Bridget said to me, what is this on Jonathan's Facebook page? And so we had to have a conversation, because the knee-jerk reaction is that we think our son just put something inappropriate on Facebook, when in fact he had no clue it was there because he liked something that somebody put. And so we have to be careful. So timeline and tagging settings. Who can attach things to your wall? Who can comment? Who can like? Who has access to what you put on Facebook? That's in this setting. Okay. So so status updates. I've been kind of talking about this a little bit. Again, our kids can choose for us not to see a post. And Facebook does a really good job with making sure that can happen. The reality is when I post something to my personal profile, only 10 to 15% of my friends see that post. And Bridget has like 500 friends, so I'll use this as an example. Okay, she will often post scripture from her morning devotion time on her Facebook page, something beneficial that someone might glean truth from. Facebook has set itself up in a way that not many people see that post. If she puts something about Obama or government or something that's a bit controversial, everybody sees it. And it's not right, and it's very much not equitable, but Facebook manages what posts are shared to what extent they are shared. So we need to make sure that we understand that. So there are two layers of what is seen. You can create friend lists and you can choose who gets information, and it's all, if you need instruction about that, I would be happy to walk you through some of that information. And then Facebook determines who sees what based on what your post is about. So spend some time in your settings, because it can save you. Spending 30 minutes in your settings now can save you a headache later. It's true. And the last thing I'll say about security settings is that you should always have your kids' passwords. I am one of those guys who, as long as you live in my house, there is no privacy. My job as a parent is to bust your bubble wide open. It is the truth. If I don't, I'm setting you up for failure in life. And I can say that on a video camera because Jonathan knows it. And Joshua's learning it, and Jordan will get it, and Maya, I've already busted her bubble many times, so it's okay. So you should know your kids' passwords. That's enough about that. Okay, so this is something that Facebook has set up that I didn't know existed, and I don't know why they don't broadcast this more. They have a family safety center, and you can go on and you can actually learn how to keep your family safe on social media. I did not know this. Okay, so check this out. I didn't really breeze through it a whole lot, only because I was running out of time. I have way more information than what I'm going to be able to communicate this Sunday and next. But so check that out. Okay, let's talk about Twitter for a little bit. Yes, ma'am.
How did you find that? Did you just search for Family Safety Center, or?
I read Facebook's 33 pages of rules and regulations, and it says it in there. I spent lots of research on this. So that's where I found it. It was hidden in their government. We write this because the government makes us page. But I learned some other things too. Any other questions about Facebook at all?
Might note that this ties in with a lot of the free speech zones that colleges and universities are starting to set up.
Right.
If you want to talk about something, you have to go to that zone.
Yeah.
And if you draw a crowd, you draw a crowd. If you don't, you just shut up.
Right.
So it's the tentacles of this thing just should become very apparent to us as we listen.
Yes. Yeah. So I want to give you guys two more resources before we move on to Twitter. One is opendns.org, and here's what this is. opendns.org. This is an internet filter that goes on your router. So anything that is connected to your network in your house cannot get inappropriate content at all. We have 3 routers in this building. There are, to my knowledge, 0 dead spots of wireless internet in this building. And every one of them has this service on it. I know that I'm not as smart as somebody else, but it would be pretty hard for somebody to get inappropriate content on the church network. We have this also at our house. So we take some pretty big security filtering options in our house. One is this.
Is it installed as a software?
It is simply if you go into your router settings, there's a DNS address, and you just enter it into the DNS address.
And so everything goes through that port?
Yeah, everything goes through that port, and you're good to go. And it's actually faster than if you have Comcast, or it bounces pretty quickly. We've never had a problem with it here or at my house. So we have, if I just lost you in what I said, please, we'll just ask later. So we have open DNS at our house. We also have, most routers will allow you to have parental control. You just need to know where to find it. For example, our router, we have 2 routers at our house that are bridged together. I'm a nerd. I'm okay with that most days. So Jonathan's internet shuts off at 8:30 at night. He cannot get online he doesn't have a smartphone, so he cannot get online with his iPod after 8:30 at night. It automatically shuts off. The internet on Joshua's iPod shuts off at 8 o'clock. The internet on our Wii shuts off at 8 o'clock. So we can go into our router and set parental controls for each thing. We also have they each have a computer in their room. Jonathan and Joshua. We find cheap technology. We don't spend a bunch of money on technology. So they each have a computer in their bedroom. And I have on my router set where they never have access to the internet in their bedrooms unless they ask. And then I have to type in a password, and they get an hour. And that's it. So we're pretty big on filtering our kids' internet use in the house because we think it's important. So let's talk about Twitter. It's 9:51, so we'll see how far we get. Okay. With Facebook, if I do a friend request to Delora, she has to approve it. With your kids, same thing. Facebook operates with friends. I have to approve you to be my friend. Okay. Twitter is not like that at all. Not a bit. So I gave you have a sheet that says 9 things parents should know about teenage Twitter use. I might reference some of this and I might not, but it's for your information. Okay, unlike Facebook, there is no minimum age required to use Twitter. I don't know how the government lets them do it and not Facebook. Some things I just don't have answers for. But that's true. So unlike Facebook, anybody can follow you. They are fans, they are not friends. Facebook has friends that you, the individual user, must approve. Facebook, Twitter, anybody can follow you. I followed 15 new people this morning just because I thought they were cool. We have some common interests. And so, but we may or may not have ever met face to face. But I can follow them because they put some good ministry tips up. So who can see my posts on Twitter? Again, everything is public. I will show you in just a minute how to make it not public, but everything by default is public. So the fact that your kids were doing something that they probably shouldn't have been doing last night, but they think they got away with it, and it was a really cool post that they wanted to let all their friends about, the entire world knows. Because by default, it's public. So here's the difference between you can protect a tweet, you can protect your account, Here's the difference between protected tweets and unprotected tweets. An unprotected tweet is public by default. A protected tweet is not. If you protect your account, people can't automatically follow you without your permission. And people cannot just find you and see what you're posting simply because you have a Twitter account. There is not as much security control as Facebook has. Facebook understands its audience a little better than Twitter, I think. So here's what it looks like. Again, this is my Twitter feed. A nice picture of us standing on 20 feet of water covered with ice. And so you'll see again at the right-hand corner, you'll see my menu with settings. So if you click on settings, you get all of these different options. And I don't have much security on my Twitter account because this is the one social media account that I have that anybody can have access to. And it's just a lot of ministry people, a lot of colleagues that I meet at conferences, different things. This is the one thing that I give people that we can interact. And so I have almost zero security on this, which is not a good idea, but that's how I have it set up. So you can go through and do your security, and you can do your privacy, different settings. If you go down, I didn't put that picture in here, but if you go down from the privacy settings, you can tell it to protect my account. And so it has a little lock, a little closed lock next to your username, and that is how you protect your account. So if someone wants to follow you, you have to approve it. If nobody can see your tweets or your kids' tweets unless they are a follower of yours. So there's a little more security features there. So here's what a post contains. Again, this is public information. Once it's posted, it can't be edited. You can delete it, but it can't be edited. So Twitter, this is my little soapbox here. I think 140 characters is making America grammatically stupid. Okay, I'll go on the record and say that because I've said it a number of times. So a Twitter post is 140 characters, including spaces, including punctuation. For people like me who are grammar Nazis, it's just insane. I try to figure out how to fit everything I want to say, and I can't. It's 104. You can post whatever 140 characters will hold. Hey, my mom is stupid. I wish that I lived in a different house. And kids post that. Kids post things like, they have no clue the stress that they cause my life. I actually read that this morning. And so there are different, we put our life on social media and we have no clue that the world is seeing it. We think it's a journal when it's a newspaper and it's a billboard. So a post can include a link to another page. If I make a blog entry, which sometimes I do a parenting class online and I post parenting tips in a blog and send it. And so I'll have, one of my titles was, what does a machete have to do with parenting? A lot. And if you read the blog entry, you'll find out that it has a lot to do with parenting. And then it'll have the link to go read what it is. So it can have a link to another page. It can include photos. It can include videos. And we'll talk about that in a little while. It can include a hashtag. A hashtag is a pound sign. As you can see, we have the story behind a hashtag is actually interesting, how it is derived and evolved throughout the years. But it's currently used as, this is something that I think is cool and I want to be a topic that trends throughout the country. So it can also include a retweet. A retweet is something that someone else posted that I think is good enough to send to the people that I follow. So I hit a little button and it sends it and it puts it on my feed. For example, yesterday I read an article that said, Dear Youth Group, all of the things that I want you to know 12 years from now. And so it was really good. I retweeted it. So it's not original for me, but it can look as such. So hashtags. Let's talk about hashtags for a moment. They are good and they are dangerous all at the same time. If I am at a conference and I want other people and I want to interact with other people at that conference, I can put something like OC14. I was at the Orange Conference in April. So I put on a lot of my tweets OC14 because I wanted to interact with other people that were at the conference. The negative of hashtags is that anybody can go, there's a little search bar, and anybody can type in OC14 and see everybody that is tweeting about OC14. And they can find out everything. So if, here are two really big terms in teenage social media world right now. Okay, one is YOLO, YOLO. And it means you only live once. It is them giving themselves permission to do something stupid. Almost always. Okay, and so generally they'll do hashtag YOLO. So if I really want to just prey on kids, I can go into the search bar and search YOLO and find everyone that is tweeting this. The other big thing is it's called BAE, B-A-E, and it means before anybody else or before anything else. And it's so, hey, I'm hanging out with this person in their bay, which means everything and everyone else comes underneath this person. They just made him an idol, or her, or that thing. So but again, you can search for that and find everything else in it. Are there questions about Twitter? Because it's 10 o'clock, we should probably end. Any questions at all about anything that I said? Okay, so next week, I'll tell you, we're going to talk about Instagram and how we are really stupid on Instagram. Seriously, it's bad. And it can be good, it can be bad. We're going to talk about Snapchat. And we're going to talk about smartphones, and we're going to talk about sexting, and we're going to talk about apps that kids are using to take screenshots and send to every one of their contacts anonymously. So if you don't know what those things are, you should probably come back next week. Okay?